Hello, I hope you've had a good week and a good weekend so far. One of the questions I get asked more than almost anyone else is, how did I get into the world of music? How did I get my foot into the world of doing studio work, becoming a songwriter? How do you end up working with all of the people you want to work with and basically build a living from doing this? Because, of course, for all of us working in music, we all started on the same page. It all starts with a dream when you're a kid, and this is what you want to do, and we're competing with millions and millions of people around the world for a very small amount of work. There are not a lot of work for people doing this on the highest level, but there are a lot of cool work in the world of music. It all depends on what you want to do. And of course, this year being with the pandemic and everything is not easy, but the world is going to come back. And maybe this is the perfect time for you to actually do the real homework to be prepared when the world comes back again. I mean, there are millions and millions of jobs lost in the entertainment world, all over the world. And work is going to come back. It's not going to be the same, but work is going to come back. So being hungry, prepared, and ready when it's time, it's going to be a big key to you getting your foot in. But it's also really important to do this the right way. I've noticed that a lot of young people are much more in a rush to get from where you start to actually doing this than maybe people of my generation. I'm 52 years old. I started to play in 1973 when I was 5. And I, of course, was very young, so I didn't have that kind of pressure of doing it right away. But there are some really cool tricks and ideas and tips that I can give you if you are one of those who are actually really, really serious about doing this. And the question you got to ask yourself is, are you willing to do this despite what anyone in the world tells you? And I'm talking about friends, about parents, about society, because they're all going to tell you that, go cut your hair and get a real job. And for most people, that's what you should do. But if you have that voice inside that says, no, this is my calling in life, there's nothing whatsoever that's going to stop me, well, at least you have the right energy to get going. So I'm going to teach you some ideas that I've had, some mental plans and some simple strategies to actually make things happen. And let's do it. The key word is balance. That's the most important thing. And don't have too much, don't have too little. Know where the balance is, what's perfect for you. So ever since I was a kid, I made very sure that I started every day by spending a few minutes before even going out of bed. And I still do this to this day. As soon as I wake up, I say to myself, okay, it's Monday. I have 4 things I need to do today for people. Do I have a deadline? Which one is the most important one? How long will they take? How long is this going to take out of my day? I mean, I have a daughter that's 5 years old. I have a family, of course. There are other things that I need to put into my equation of how the day is going to look. So I quickly just make a mental plan of how the day is going to look and make sure I have enough time to do all of this with no stress. So take a few minutes when you wake up in the morning and make a mental plan of what you need to do today to make sure it's going to be a good day. And then put it on paper if you're not, if it's hard to remember or if you need to look at it and remind yourself. If you feel stress because you have too much to do, which happens. Put them all on a list in the priority order. Maybe go from the hardest, the toughest work first, and then just work one point of the list. Just number one, what's the worst thing you need to do today? Get it done, because you're going to feel better when you see that the list is smaller and the worst one is done. If you get 2 bad ones off the list, it's going to start feeling pretty good. And depending on how much you have, the fewer things you have left on the list, the better you're going to feel. But also, the last ones are going to be the easiest ones. So even if it's a very long day, you're gonna feel like you have the strength to do the last ones because they are the easiest ones. And also, stress kills the quality of the art we do. And poor art pays less money because you're not delivering on the level that you should do and maybe as good as other people do. And poor quality in your work leads to less work. So it's all a bad equation in the end. So try to remove the stress from everything you do. Always make a priority list based on how big and small the work is, what deadlines you have. Make sure that you meet the deadlines so people don't put stress on other people. So do a priority list on how tough it is, but also the deadlines. Because people, when it comes to deadlines for other people, they get stressed. And if they are waiting for you and other people to deliver, even if you feel that you're going to deliver, they are going to feel stressed. And they start putting pressure on you, and it's going to mess up your workflow. Very early in my life, I came up with a system that I call it like the golden star reward system. And you can do it in various ways. It's really simple. What I used to tell people is that, get a glass bowl and get like golden balls and black balls, 31 each for all the days in 1 month. But you can have a golden star and a black star, so it just feels like you're a winner or you failed on what you wanted to do. So you have one for each day of a whole month. And when you start on, say we're in October right now, you start on October 1st, and you make a plan for everything you need to do that day, and you make sure you do it, and you feel very happy at the end of the day, it was a good day, you take a golden star or golden ball, whatever you want to use, and you put it in the bowl, or you can print, you can find these calendars, if you Google, you can just print each month, and just get a gold pen and a black pen. Just put a gold marking for every good day that you feel that you've had. You succeeded with your plans, everything worked out fine, and at the end of the day, you're happy with everything that went on. You put a gold star or whatever you want to put there. If it didn't work out well, for whatever reason that is, you put a black star. At the end of the month, you can look at the whole thing. You can look at the bowl with all the balls in it. You can look at the calendar, and you're gonna see the value of the work you did that month. You're gonna see how much gold or how much black there is. So the key is to fill every month with as much gold as possible. Because when you do see it that way, it's an affirmation for you. It builds you up going, everything that, all the goals and dreams you set for yourself are actually working out. Because only you can decide if it's a good or bad day, except if you fail on something and people are not happy with you and you still call it a good day. Well, you still need to be realistic about it. So in a realistic world with grown-up people, if everyone's happy and you did your work, it's a gold day. If things didn't work out, if you failed, if something else failed that you didn't, take into account or whatever, it's a black day. This way, you can actually very, very easy see out of 31 days in a full month, well, maybe you had 20 really good days, but you also had 11 bad days. Why did you have 11 bad days? That's what you need to figure out. You need to find out if it was your fault, it was something that you didn't know already, if it's somebody else's fault. I mean, you can't be blamed for it if you did everything right and it didn't work out. For many, many years, it was my way of putting my dreams together and having a value of how well things actually work out. And like I said in the beginning, the key word is balance. You can't work for 31 days in a full month because you're going to burn out, and that's not going to be a good thing. So, of course, you need to put in days off. Everyone has days off. A day off, a resting day, or maybe even a half day somewhere, it's not a black day in the calendar. It's still a golden day because you're taking care of yourself. So the key word again, balance. You really need to make sure you figure out if you're okay doing 10 full days of working hard, and maybe you need 1 day off and then you go 10 days again, or if you're capable of going 4 days and you need 3 days off, and so on. You need to find the balance, what's going to work for you. Because the only competition you're going to have in your whole life is you. The person you see in the mirror when you wake up, that's your competition. Everyone else in the world of music and whatever it is around you, everyone else is just doing their thing. And some of them are going to be better than you. A lot of them are going to be more successful than you. Doesn't mean that you can't find your perfect place and have a really successful life, depending on what success is for you. If it's becoming a star, fine, if that's your goal. If it's like in my situation, I wanted to be a working musician. I wanted to be a studio musician, playing on people's albums. I wanted to be a songwriter, writing the songs for people and all of that. I loved putting albums together, especially for big stars. Like when I worked with Alice Cooper, and we spent 11 months doing the Paranormal album. And when it was finally out, it's his job to go and do hundreds and hundreds of interviews, the work, the hard work. And he's a legend. He's a star. He's used to that. That's not my job. By the time that album came out, I was already 15 albums into something else. And that's my work. That's what I do. But I found my place, and I found it through understanding my balance early in life. So make sure that you understand your balance when you try this system. If you like it, it's gonna be a huge difference, because don't burn out. It's gonna be stressful and tough anyway. And don't fool yourself. If this is what you want to do, it's gonna take hard work. It's gonna take more work than you probably even understand. And once you start understanding how much work it is, that's only the beginning. Because the key to success is harder work than people realize. Everyone has a talent. Everyone is good at what they do if they really want to do this. It's not a problem. But it's the people who are willing to work harder than the other people until they reach that point. They are the ones that are going to succeed. A lot of these people actually often have less talent than other people who succeed. But they're willing to work harder for it. So they build a company and a brand around themselves and a career that often lasts longer. So make your schedule and your planning to avoid feeling burnt out. And again, finding that balance. It's very much in when you wake up in the morning, try to wake up early. I mean, most of you will have to go to school or go to a job, because you can't do this 7 days a week full time before you actually get into doing this. So it's going to be a lot of work on your free time. But in general, go up early, healthy breakfast, exercise, do whatever you need to feel good about life, and then have a focused plan for your whole day. Follow that plan. feel good about putting a golden star in the calendar that day. It's going to make a huge difference. So let's go into the game plan that I want to show you. I want to teach you important things that other really, really great people taught me, mentors of my life. And I've followed this since I was a kid. And it's a major part of why I got to where my dreams live. Because I put goals much bigger than most people I ever knew. And that meant if I really wanted to reach my goals, I had to find a way how to get there. So we're going to make a 3-year plan for you. How you can go from where you are right now to actually be working in the world of music. You're going to divide each year into 4 quarters, 3 months per quarter, and we're going to work with what you're going to focus on to build your career, your company around you, and the brand, meaning your name. So let's get started. The best words that I've lived by my whole life is what my grandmother taught me when I was around 12, 13, 14 years old. She said, because we were sitting talking about, she asked me what I wanted to do with my life, and I already knew music is going to be my path in life. And she said, well, if your dreams don't scare you, they are not big enough. And that just stuck with me to this day. And I grew up here in a very small town north of Stockholm. I didn't grow up in Los Angeles or Nashville or New York or London or the major cities. Sweden is a pretty powerful place to be for music, but it hasn't always been that way. So I had to figure out a way of removing myself from this small town that had less than 20,000 people when I grew up, put myself in a place where the kind of work I wanted to do exist. And I was lucky enough to get signed when I was about 14, 15 years old with a hard rock band. That made it was a lucky break for me, because with the reviews we got from that actually opened doors in the media for me, and I used them. But even if I used them to open doors, when you do get in through the door, you still need to deliver. And this is where my 3-year plan comes into action. Because if you're not prepared to run fast because you can hardly walk, you're going to stumble and they're going to notice it and you're going to be thrown out again. So do the homework, do this well. You need to keep a daily journal of everything you need to do, everything you want to do, and how things are going. And evaluate this all the time, because this is going to be part of the Golden Star and the Black Star system. Maybe you're already got your foot in, so you're doing some sessions or you're doing live work and maybe writing songs and so on. You need to put all of this in there. And I've always said there are people who want things and there are people who do things. Big difference. And there are people who try and there are people who refuse to accept failure. And there are people who fail and they complain and blame what's going on other people and the situations and whatever lame reason they can think of. And that's even worse because you're in charge. So basically put your shit together, learn from the mistakes you do, and check your ego at the door. This is Star Wars shit. You're going to become a Jedi, basically. And those of you who really gets this in your soul you're going to succeed with this. Year number 1, I call it walk before you run, because this is the discovery year. You need to discover and understand who you are, where you are, what you need to learn, what's required. Because it's baby steps, and you're starting on baby steps unless you're already working in this business. Then you don't have to watch this video anyway. So start by making a list of what you want to learn and what you need to learn. Want to have, need to have. It's a very important lesson in business. There are always things we want to have, but do we actually need to have them? You study this by reading everything you can. These days you can Google pretty much anything. Read music magazines, read the Billboard, Rolling Stone, whatever, all of these magazines, and subscribe to the industry newsletters. There's a lot of them out there, and sort of follow what's happening in the world of music. Ask and hang around people who know more than you do. Try to figure out where professionals hang out. It's not an easy year, I know, but there are even digital ways of contacting people, and you know, you get mentors through this. If they like you and they believe you, a lot of people don't mind mentoring other people. I'm sort of doing this for free by doing a YouTube channel instead of selling my services for all of this information, which I could do, but I kind of like this idea better. Hopefully it's good karma in the end. So learn how to network, how to get your foot into the door, and how to meet people. How do you greet people? There's a huge difference. In Sweden, people are more reserved and shy, so you politely, you go like, "Hi, my name is Tommy," and they might ask you, "So what do you do?" "Well, I'm a guitar player." They might know, and so on. In Los Angeles, when I lived there, it freaked me out, because I was taught by people who were mentoring me there that in Los Angeles, during all of the years I lived there, people don't have time to get to know people. They just want to get the work done. So basically you had to walk up to people and go, "Hi, my name is Denander. I've done this amount of albums. I worked with these people. I won all of these awards." And they would go, "Okay, that's pretty cool. You're pre-approved then." It's like your merits, your credit list is cool enough that we should talk. And quickly you basically decide on working together. And it's cool in a way, because you quickly get to the thing you want to do. You want to work with people. And if you deliver once you're inside, then, well, you're quickly part of the gang. So it's a cool way of doing it, but it's for a Swedish guy, it's really freaky to go up and sort of sell yourself in that, in my world, kind of creepy way. But even that we get used to. Offer to be part of things for no money. Do things for free, because you will learn from them. Everything you do in your career, you will learn from. If somebody wants to pay you, great. Hopefully you can deliver and you make money. There's nothing wrong with making money. But also try to understand when something might be too big for you, too hard, too complicated for you to do. So again, know your limitations, find that balance. You're only in the first year, you're only in the first quarter. So you're building yourself up through the 4 quarters, starting from scratch. Show people that you're somebody that can be trusted within a team. If you offer your services or if they invite you, doesn't matter. Be prepared to always deliver. Don't take too much space, especially when you're starting out, because you don't know what you're doing yet. It's a huge difference between thinking that you know the answer, which is a hunch, it's a guess, or knowing the answer, because that's called experience. You need to find out how far away you are from being able to get your foot into the world of music to the level where you want to start. But you need to find that out now. And within the first 4 quarters, find out where you are and how you're gonna get to that first level in the first year to fill up the 100% in 4 quarters. Use the gold star and the black star system and to evaluate how things are going daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, half a year into a full year. You're basically starting a company around yourself, and that company is a brand, it's a name, and slowly that needs to spread as well, because people need to know who you are and what you do in order to be able to think of you as the person they want to hire once it's time to start doing this. I decided right away when I was a kid that I'm going to stay away from smoking, from drugs. I'm high on life. That's my goal. That's how I live my life. I want to be present 7 days a week. I want to be here for my daughter every day. I want to be here for all the work that I do. And after almost 40 years, I still work hard 7 days a week on the next step. I don't take the future for granted. I decide what the road's going to look like because it's my life. Nobody gave me this life. Nobody gave me all the people I work with and everything I have achieved in life. I decided that I wanted it. And I made a game plan how to go and get it. So during this first year, you start to walk and walk slowly before you run in the first quarter, and then you stand up more in the second, and halfway through you can start jogging a bit. You can start going a little faster, but divide your year into 4 parts and have a clear set goal on where you want to be in the end of year 1. Year 2, you were hopefully let inside. So it's time to deliver. You did your work. You worked hard through year 1, and you should feel proud about yourself because that work paid off. And a lot of people saw what you did, liked what you did, and doors started opening. Things start becoming real now. And this is where you need to pay attention much more. This year has to be really, really solid because you don't want to fall back and have to redo a lot of those stuff that you did in year 1 because you didn't do it good enough. You didn't learn the right foundation steps good enough. So pay attention and make sure you try to do this year as solid as you can. Don't take on things you cannot handle. Get an easier job, but do it really well. Things doesn't have to be too complicated. It all depends on who you are and what you're capable of doing. So, I think you're going to feel that in your own heart. Also be very, very humble about the fact that you have a long, long way to go. But now it's also the time to start building your presence and your brand and your company bigger in the social media, because hopefully you've done something that you can start building on in the social media. Don't forget to keep doing the gold star, black star system, because it's going to help you through everything you do for years to evaluate how well things are going. And you need to analyze. If you start seeing a lot of black stars in there, why? What do you see now that you're hopefully on the inside that you didn't know you were going to see before? How many people are competing for your job? Are you pretty alone around the people you're working with doing this? Or is it always a bunch of people trying to do what you're trying to do? How good are they? How fast do they work? What kind of gear do they use compared to you? Do they sound better? Do you sound better? Do people have an opinion about it? How do they act between each other? How do they carry themselves? But you need to work even harder this year. And this is going to be that tough year where you're inside, but you can still get kicked out. If you really build a solid foundation during this year, it's gonna help you a lot. by staying in this business. Find solutions, fix problems, and constantly work on getting better. This year is really important. Year 3. So it's time to show them how fast you can actually run. This is the year where you evaluate what you've learned in the first 2 years. Hopefully you did your homework and people are thrilled to have you involved. You might be writing songs, you might start getting hits, you might be playing on bigger stuff, you might be touring with great artists. You're hopefully doing what you set out to do. And never forget that if you, by this point, are inside of the music world and you're making a living, it doesn't matter if you're in a top 40 band, whatever it is, if you're making a living from music, things are going in the right direction. If you still have to keep another job and this is your hobby, well, be realistic about it. Maybe music is going to be your hobby, and that's not a bad thing. It's actually a pretty cool thing, but hopefully you're inside of the business and things are going really well. Hopefully you can actually do this full time by now. It's time to combine the work ahead with evaluating how things have gone in the first 2 years. So keep splitting the year into 4 quarters, but do a bigger evaluation for each new quarter of this year. What do people compliment you most often for? Is it your playing? Is it your writing? Always bringing very creative ideas, your personality. What is it that's the foundation of why things seem to be working? What can you still become much better at? What is coming very naturally and going really, really well? Do you still see other players getting the better gigs than you? Why is that? I've always been super humble about the fact that I don't read music. I'm okay with chords, but I'm a million miles away from the best guitar player on the planet. I've always said I'm not really good at sitting in a music store or at the NAMM show, whatever, and just playing a lot of great fast chops, licks, and this and that just to impress people. I'm not much of a circus artist. But if you put 2 chords and a groove in front of me, I can come up with something that's going to make a lot of sense for that song. And that's my job. I found my place. I figured out what I'm good at, and that's what I go for. So go through all the goals and plans you've had since you started for these 3 years. Figure out if you're on the right path, if you actually are in the place where you wanted to be when you started it. You might be way ahead of them. You might be far behind. But it's really the time to evaluate how things are going and have gone. Did your goals and your dreams and all the concepts for the future change from when you started with this, because you learned so much more about how this business works? And if it did, you need to understand why and what it will take to adapt your life into that direction. So ask yourself really hard questions and be brave enough to answer them honestly within yourself. Is this what I thought it would be? Am I good enough to do this compared to other people? Am I where I thought I would be? Is my company and my brand growing or standing still or going backwards? Do people really care about my work enough so maybe I can have a career and make money out of this? Do I fall asleep and wake up thrilled and happy about what I do? Or do I feel stressed, sad, depressed, whatever about it? Or is it everything I wanted it to be? One of the most important questions you can ask yourself: do you have a plan B? Because if you do, it means you're willing to give up this dream. I only had plan A, only one dream. And I said this to my parents when I was a kid. If I fail at this when I get old, I have myself to blame. So be it. But there was never a plan B. If you have a plan B, it means that you're willing to give this up. Very important question to ask yourself. The simple truth is this. No one is going to give you what you really want and desire in life. Only you can give that to yourself. You're going to get some stuff, and a lot of stuff is going to be taken away. That's just part of the game. But the big picture is all about you. You're on a journey, a road, from where you started in life all the way to where it ends. And that adventure, the size of the adventure, is based on how brave you are. So you decide what your life's going to look like. This is where the dreams come in. If they're not big enough, if they don't scare you, they're not big enough. So go for the big ones, but find out how to get there. All people have talent. Some a little more, a lot of people more than you, doesn't matter. A lot of people less talent than you. But the people with less talent that have a very smart head and a true passion written in stone, no matter what anyone says, will succeed over those with more talent who think it's going to be pretty easy because it comes easier for them. They might get to a point faster, but they're not going to last because this is a job that actually requires that you do your homework. You just need to find out if that is actually you. If you have what it takes, if that's your true passion in life. And if you do, I wish you nothing but the biggest luck in going all the way to all your dreams and goals in life. Because the rewards in the end of this journey are amazing. And pretty much most of us who are lucky enough to have a long career can write some pretty damn cool memoirs about our lives. I've been asked by hundreds and hundreds of people to write a book about my life. And I'm still in the middle of the journey, so I'm far away from that chapter. But I'm sharing a lot of what I've done and how I got there on this YouTube channel. And I'm sure there will be a book sometime in life. But I think it's even cooler to do it this way. So I wish you all the luck in the world to put together your game plan. And if you take this serious enough, you will actually end up doing what you're supposed to do. And keep me posted in the comments under the videos, because I'm going to keep doing this YouTube channel for a long time. And keep me posted and send me emails. Let me know how things go. And same if you have questions and stuff. So all the best. Good luck. And I will be back with music videos very soon. So thank you so much. Bye.